Hey there, Cheesemeisters. Welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been Baby, Baby, Baby by TLC. That was playing in the DJ booth when Donna and David are studying for the SATs, but also looking through the mirror or the window at Brenda and Kelly having a bit of a issue back and forth.
Yes.
I am Jeff, and there's Kelly, and Donna, and Steve. And joining me on the other end of the internet, my cuz-host.
I'm Leslie, and I really need a cigarette.
Wow. What's the matter, Bran? You just want to walk and smoke a cigarette and buy some black mini dresses and run up your credit card? Is that what you want? You want me to left alone?
Brandon, would you just shut up?
Okay.
I found a picture of her saying that months ago, and I got so delighted when I saw her outfit, and I went, "Is this going to be it?" Because she just goes, "Brandon, would you please just shut up?" And it's great. I love it.
That's been like your guiding principle, your lighthouse on the shore, these many months. It's like I know that that's going to happen, and it's going to fulfill me in some way that I can't describe. But I need her to tell Brandon to shut up. I don't even care what it's about. He just needs to be told to shut up.
Yeah, I was so thrilled that it happened. I was thrilled before I even knew it happened. I have these random little quotes that I have saved from 90210 popping up on my Pinterest, and
that you're just waiting to see.
Yes.
Oh, that's fun. What do you have one of them that you can share, and I can try to not give away what it is?
Let me look up real quick. Her smoking has definitely been some. I'm like, ooh, this is a mood. I know smoking is bad, but I like Bad Brenda. And I can't wait. You know, I say that loosely because I really think she's bad. I think she's just drawn that way.
That's fair.
Let's see. Oh, this is everyone's on the beach, and someone says, "I want to stay just like this as long as we can."
Okay. Okay.
That's not really like a funny one, but let's see, what else? Okay, this is just an image, and it's iconic in my mind forever.
Okay, show it to me.
It's her looking hella hungover.
Oh, it's real blurry.
And down my life.
Okay, that's really blurry on my screen, so I can't 100% tell what that is.
Okay, it's Brenda in these like John Lennon-esque sunglasses.
Yeah.
Long hair, looking disillusioned by life, and Donna next to her just like happy.
I feel like I know what that's from. It's very blurry, but I think I know what that's from.
Yeah, wow, we've already hit a few of these.
Oh, nice.
I think we've hit the I was a supreme bitch.
Nice. Iconic. Yeah.
A lot of these are behind the scenes. I sent you the one of Dylan going like, "If this is life, it's overrated," or something. And I'm like, yes. 100%.
Yeah, I don't remember what that's from because that just feels like that's just giving all the time, Dylan.
Oh, Kelly says in this one, "I hate to break it to you, but I really don't care."
I feel like she said that to Brenda a couple of times now. Like when she's just been over listening to her bitch about Dylan or whatever.
I know. Like they're all so simple, and yet they strike a chord with me. No, you're good.
Yeah, Laura was trying to bring me more coffee, which would be welcome, but I don't have my mug.
Oh, I'll take some.
Leslie would like some more coffee.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, have some.
Okay, well, I'll give you one last one. Okay. It's Brenda and Brandon, and Brenda is going, "Mom, this is the 90s.
Everything's the 90s.
I know.
90s are alive and well in Portland, everybody. That's what I learned from the TV show from 15 years ago.
I doubt it now.
That's probably true. All right, so this week, Cheesemeisters, we are watching Season 3, Episode 8, The Backstory. Original air date September 16th, 1992.
My mom's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday to mom. Gotta love that. So for your mom's birthday, we got her tabloid journalism at its finest.
Yep.
And we got her stress over taking the SATs. And we got her a lot of not awesome decision making. So happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah.
You always wanted. That's
exactly.
Right. Yeah. Back when she was like, I got this baby. I got this. It's not a toddler anymore. There's a lot of work going on in this house. These two girls.
To be a diva.
I just want to dress in Disney princess costumes literally all day long. I just got a picture of Margot and Louisa dressed as Disney princesses this morning. So that has not changed for little girls. That is true.
I mean,
Anna and Elsa.
My sister and I did have matching Little Mermaid outfits, but like day wear, because this was the time when you couldn't dress in the costumes to go out and about, but you could wear outfits that had their likeness on it.
Well, I'll say this. If you dress like the Little Mermaid and go out to a party, you're just going to end up standing there looking weird.
That's true.
These are things that if your mom had been paying attention to 90210 the first couple seasons, she would have learned and not done to you as a protective move. So,
okay.
I feel like I think that's just your mom taking care of you guys, making sure that you don't look like fools. Now, where she was when you decided to wear the antebellum dresses, like everywhere, and not be able to sit
Never
down.
did, thankfully.
Oh, good. Bullet dodged there. So this episode, the kids are all prepping for the SATs again. Shouts to Alfred B. Cook or UB Fried. Did you notice that on the placard when they're going in?
I did. I have a whole list of references.
Yeah, this one called back, so we're going to have to talk about that for sure. But they are studying for the SATs this time because a lot of shit happened last time they took the SATs. Brenda had her breast cancer scare. Dylan bailed on the test to go hang out with Brenda. Brandon, apparently, even though he was very worried about his sister, did well enough not to need to take them again. So,
of course,
thumbs up for Brandon compartmentalizing and moving forward with with what needs to be done. Something he's not great at this episode, by the way. There's shit bleeding over in Brandon. He doesn't know whether to shit or wind his watch most of the time in this episode. He's just
yeah.
Because Nikki is here, and Nikki is interested, and Nikki is not shy about being interested, and Nikki is cute as fuck, and I love Nikki, and I want more Nikki.
She plays it so well. She's like, oh, I don't... She's like a guy when you want to head him off at the pass and say, hey, like, ooh, look, we can hang out, but I'm just not looking for anything. What are you talking about? All I did was come over and say hi and put my arm around you. Like,
right. I just kind of, with the left nip, I just did that. Why are you acting like that's a thing? Why are you acting like I'm sending you signals?
I've been following you and trying to talk to you all the time. Like, what are you saying?
I'm literally everywhere you are. What?
It's a small school, Brandon. Jeez.
Okay. So I think that's a good segue, because the other thing that happens in this episode is Brenda meets the lady from Backstory, goes on the tabloid, gets sold out. Everybody's mad at Brenda. Also, she smokes. SATs, whatever. But this is a small school is kind of the point. This is what this episode is really about. One of the things this episode is really about is that everything is about these 8 kids or whatever. Like, fucking everything. Even this Backstory tabloid news program that usually spends its time doing hard-hitting takedowns of 1980s sitcom moms.
Yeah.
Now what they're doing is just taking a shit on these 8 kids. Because they're the only kids in existence. They're the only ones that go to this high school. BJ used to, I guess. And Suds, by the way, thumbs up to Suds as a name. Like,
who the hell is Suds?
Suds is BJ's girlfriend.
Oh my god.
Yeah, her name is Suds.
Oh yeah. Okay. It took me a minute. I was like, who the hell are you talking about? You're talking about like they're not the least important people because they should definitely be important and remembered, but like with everything else, this whole Steve subplot is pretty minor in the grand scheme.
It's minor today.
I'm sure it has to be something more because again, the guy being I always forget when jerk was used as like I don't know, don't be a goody two shoes or something. That's what
right.
It
Don't be a jerk, Sanders. Maybe for once in your life, you be a jerk. Uh-oh.
Also, I rolled my notes into this because it's clearly going to be an episode. I mean, like I said, I need a cigarette.
I'm with you. Yeah. So, yes. Suds, great name. BJ and Suds, minor subplot here, but this is this is the pebble on the top of the mountain that starts rolling.
Oh no.
So there are things coming, which I want you to guess at later. I want you to guess about Siki. I think it's going to be impossible to get all of the tendrils that get brought into this legacy key situation, but you're going to have to guess about that. But literally every fucking thing is about these kids. BJ comes back and he's got this legacy key that's been passed down for generation to generation to generation because they never changed the locks in the school, seemingly. One key. When they go to a key card entry, this legacy key thing is fucked. But I think they got a little bit of time to ride that one out. But BJ and Suds, and she's still a junior. Suds, okay. This didn't come up last episode, but Suds seems like a decent place for it to come up. When we got the senior buddies, right? Mm-hmm. When we got Herbert and Sue Scanlon and Nikki, and what we got was a younger class coming into the school.
Okay.
Suds could be considered part of that. And to be honest, what I'm about to say, if it was a Suds and Nikki program, I would watch it.
Oh, okay.
There was thought about maybe this is it for the regular cast. Like maybe the show stays in West Beverly and the cast graduates and moves on. And so they started seeding this season with underclassmen.
Oh no.
That maybe now that's not what ends up happening. The gang goes to college and all of that. But at this point, they didn't know because it was because no one had ever done a show like this where you graduate the kids from high school.
Yeah.
And this show's a fucking hit. So, like, is this a case where the characters are the stars and we got to follow them, or is it the high school? Basically, this is a Dukes of Hazzard problem. Are you familiar? Probably not.
They went to school?
No. So here's the thing. Didn't know I was going to be talking about the Duke boys again this week, but here we are. At some point, I don't remember what season it was, season 4 or something like that, Dukes of Hazzard. John Schneider and Tom Wopat's contracts were up for renewal. And the network said, the car is the star of the show, fuck right off. And so John and Tom Wopat out the door, Bo and Luke Duke hit the road. Bring in their cousins, Coy and Vance.
Oh, no.
It is a mess, Coy and Vance. I mean, it's the same show, but Bo and Luke were essential to what was going on in Hazard County. And so this was is West Beverly the General Lee, or is the show really about the Duke boys? And there were like 8 episodes of Coy and Vance before they went, oh, we got to bring these two back. So then they brought them back. Yeah, big chunk. It wasn't just...
People like watching people. Yes, we love props. Yes, we love baby hippos, but we love people.
Yeah, and that car was great. Like watching the General Lee jump and turn on its side and drive through exploding things and be slid across the hood of, and the doors are welded shut. I mean, this car was a thing.
Wow.
Oh, the General Lee was where it was at. And West Beverly was where it was at, so maybe we hang out here. Okay. So I feel like that's why we have suds get like lines and shit. And also like Brooke Langston. I have to look up her name. Sorry, Brooke. She got dropped way down the cast list. This is hilarious. Not way down, but yeah. But there's 21 people listed in the cast for this episode, and 20 of them show up on the IMDb page. and poor Brooke Langton is just down there at the bottom where you have to click the next page to find her. But yeah, she was in Swingers, and she did a whole bunch of stuff. I feel like she was also on Melrose at some point, and she's a brunette in the 90s. And so, yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, she did. Oh yeah, she did 68 episodes of Melrose. I figured she was that's what I had a memory of her in Melrose. Anyway, so I'm on the suds train. But they bring her in, and you got a little more going on with Nikki. Now we didn't see the other kids this week, but they're coming back. It wasn't on a one-off. Yeah, we're getting some stories that are going to revolve around this younger group of people. But I think which is interesting because again, the rest of the episode, the rest of the world is about these 8 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like this fucking backstory thing is very silly. But you had a point about what this was really about that I had not considered before and is 100% correct. So I'm going to let you just tell us what you realized that this episode was really about.
So during my rewatch, I was struggling trying to figure out what this was about. And then I realized it's 3rd season. They've had Color Me Bad episode, which was kind of a hint at like, hey, we can't go to the mall anymore. Isn't that funny? Mm-hmm. Also, it's terrible. We hate this.
Right.
And so because as the longer we do this, my Google, all the technology is trying to get me to read about all the behind the scenes shit.
Yeah, sure.
Thankfully, in talking with you, one, that's not going to be our thing. And then also like, just with the way we're learning more and more how women are framed is not great. And so it's just, while it will be interesting, I know it's going to be so wrong. And the thing is too, all of these friendships have more or less been remedied and fixed because yay, aging.
Yeah.
So as I'm watching it, I realize, oh, this must be Chuck Rosen telling the tabloids who are probably harassing the actors in this, making up or exacerbating. I don't know about making up or exacerbating all kinds of backstory, behind the scenes shit, and him going, leave these kids alone. Like they are so much more than what you are making them out to be. Shannon Doherty is so much more than how you are making her look.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think there's like that. This episode is very meta in that way, in that they are using the text to talk about the external world impacting the show. And I think you're right. It's like, it's directed at, pre-TMZ, but like the TMZ stuff, those magazines, and the paparazzi that were chasing them around and like publishing lots of like juicy stories to, like, there's all this tension, but it's also reflective, I think, of the Rolling Stone cover where Shannon and Luke and Jason did the Rolling Stone cover in February of this year, and apparently it did not go well for Shannon with her castmates, where they were like, why did you do that? Why didn't I get to do that? And this episode is Shannon, Brenda, getting this opportunity to do press that no one else is. And having them all react to it and putting her on this little island that she was already on because of this, at least in part because of this. So the whole thing in the show is reflecting the external reality impacting the actors. And I never watched this episode and thought about those things, but that's 100% in this. Like, I don't know if that was the intention, but I feel like if it was an accident, it's a crazy fucking accident.
It also totally felt like how Darren Star might have pitched this show. Like, hey, these 90210 kids, they're super lucky and privileged, but also I bet they're good people, or I bet they're decent people deep down. Like, they're not all going to be assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, I've heard Chuck Rosen describe this show more than once as ordinary kids leading extraordinary lives.
Wow.
And he's like, that's what's interesting about this to me. That's why you put it in, and then you give them this really over the top stuff that's about other things. It's about more grounded stuff, but it's crazy. The problem is that yes, it is. But every episode, when you just have crazy after crazy after crazy, it makes the crazy seem baseline.
Yeah.
And so it makes it look like they think this is normal, when it's very much not normal. For oh, great, the backstory's out again. They've got another Winnebago parked on Alcott Street or whatever. We didn't even notice them. There's so many tabloid trucks parked around the school.
Poor Mrs. Teasley. She's been working hard these last few episodes.
Mrs. Teasley has got a lot of shit to deal with, and it ain't getting any easier, because these knuckleheads are seniors now. So
it's not fair to her, because clearly there's not a big budget for this school, since there's only one key and one lock.
One key, one lock, 8 students, 9 if you count suds. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, this whole thing is this, and even the character's name. Did you catch what Beth's last name was?
I did. Nielsen.
Beth Nielsen. This is all for the ratings. You're out there and it's for the ratings. Like, oh my God. I mean,
nail on the head.
It is on the nose. And which is kind of like, again, because I've seen this a bajillion times and never noticed it. I just thought, here's what I think I remember watching this episode. One, I remember scan, discard, select, move on.
Oh my God. So great. Yeah.
But also, real cheesy. Look, if I knew anybody in high school who tried to insult me by quoting the test prep guy, I would have been like, okay, good job. You zinged me on that one.
I was sold on it. The way she did it, the way Tori handled that moment, I was like, that's beautiful. I believe it. But also, I feel like, again, Dawn is so relatable in that moment, because I was never good at the comebacks, to the point where even if I had a good one, I'm pretty sure I would have been made fun of anyway. That's how written off I was by dudes in my group.
You're familiar with the Jerk Store, right? From Seinfeld?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's about what this is. George is in a meeting and someone zings him and he doesn't have a comeback. And 6 hours later, he's like, I thought of the perfect comeback, Jerry. Next time I'm going to get to use it. And the guy said something and George was like, oh yeah? Well, the Jerk Store called and they're out of you. And the guy was like, and the guy immediately comes back at him with, they don't really care. You're their best seller.
Oh, man.
And then George stands up and goes, I had sex with your wife. And storms out of the room. But it turns out the guy's wife was dead.
Oh, yeah. That's
brilliant. It's so great. It's just one thing on top of another. So that moment you're talking about of not being able to come up with that zinger until 6 hours later, that's the Jerk Store moment. Where you come up with the Jerk Store line, and it's probably better you need to use it because you were going to end up, you were going to go too far.
I was going to get made fun of anyway.
Right, exactly. But I don't think, listen up, kids. Kids who are still in high school listening to this podcast, because obviously that's what you do.
We're bussing.
That's right, no cap. We are giving sage wisdom
We cook.
Slay Queen. There's just things we're saying now. These are just words I'm using, Skibby. This podcast is so Sigma. Anyway.
Be a jerk, Jeff.
I know. I'm the jerk store. Here's the thing. Don't think that your teacher said something funny and you can turn around and use that as a dig on someone else, because it's going to make you look super lame, Tabitha. Like, you are going to look like a lame stain.
You will be bound and hagged for the rest of your Friday night.
You will. Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. Because that's not cool. Like, unless you're quoting your teacher to make fun of your teacher, that's okay. That's cool. You can do that. That's still, I'm pretty sure that still flies. Using your teacher's own words to make fun of them behind their back is what kids are supposed to do. It's shitty as a teacher, but it's what kids are supposed to do. Using your teacher's words to burn your fellow classmate, that doesn't work. That's not cool. So,
no, sorry.
Don't do that, kids. Not bussin'. Not bussin'.
She's been with David too long.
Yeah, exactly. Young David Silver. I do like when Brandon calls him young David Silver.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, he's like 6 months younger than us. But he's taking this SAT. But they did last year too, so maybe there's nothing. Maybe that is something. Because David also is a year behind them. Like, maybe David stays back. Maybe everyone graduates but David, and it's David and Suds and Nikki and Sue Scanlon and Herbert. How do you feel about them as next season's stars of 90210?
I'm not sold on it yet.
It doesn't. Yeah, I don't think you ever will be.
Mostly because you're putting all the eggs in Nikki's basket, and I haven't gotten to see Herbert at all.
Right.
Sue is off auditioning for the nanny right now, so
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, the meta in this episode is very strong. And I do too, because again, I don't want to spend time in the personal life bullshit of the actors, but as it reflects, or as the show reflects that, and as their life reflects the show back and forth, that is interesting to me. How the real world impacts the text, I think is part of the thing that you want to do if you're doing, here again for the kids, if you're doing close reading of any text in school, one of the things you're trying to evaluate is author's intent and context of the story. And so looking at that, not just the text, but the extra textual stuff, is part of what you do when you're evaluating a piece of fiction. So it's a little bit like, that's why I think that stuff is relevant and worth touching on. But again, I don't want to get into the bullshit like people were mad at Shannon because XYZ, except for that it shows up.
Yeah, and I'm just, granted, I don't know all the stuff, and I don't need to because it's more or less resolved now, but like, why? I don't understand why people would get mad at her when it's like, the producers wanted me to do this. They called me. Like, it's not my fault they called me.
Right, which is what Brenda is saying this whole episode. Like, it
reminded me too of Harriet the Spy, except Harriet, because have you read Harriet the Spy?
I have not. I know of it, broad strokes, but I have not read it.
She gets in trouble with her whole class because her whole class finds her notebook and reads all the stuff she's been saying. And granted, she has been saying some, not some pretty mean stuff about all of her supposed friends and classmates. So, of course, they shun her. Whereas in this, it's like, yes, Brenda did say some stuff, but it wasn't on the record.
Right.
And then they ended up twisting around what she did say. So it was similar and also not.
Yeah.
But that's what it made me think of.
Brenda's out there trying to do something good for her friends. Shannon's out there trying to do something good for the show. And her friends and her co-stars are going, don't do that. That's fucked up. Whether that's right or not. In the show, I think it's right. Brenda should stay away from this shit. It's a bad idea.
Well, yeah. I mean, it wasn't a good look when she was like, will I get to be on camera?
Uh-huh. And Beth Nielsen was like, yes, you will. But first, we're going to give you the lifestyles of the rich and famous guy. Fake ass Robin.
You're going to love social media.
Oh, yeah. The other thing I think this episode is about is what I just said about Brenda. Like, you shouldn't have done this. Making bad choices despite getting constant advice against doing it is rampant in this episode. I mean, the number of people who tell Brenda to stay away from backstory, and she's like, you guys don't know shit. I'm gonna go talk to this Beth lady. Yeah, I just met this Beth lady. You see these suits she's wearing? You don't get a suit like that if you don't know what you're talking about. If you are not 100% on the level, you do not get those shoulder pads. You do not get that strong V coming down to the waist, early 90s style. Matching colors head to toe. This is a lady who graduated from journalism school, I swear to God, 3 months ago. And if you don't put some respect on her name, I'm just going to do this. Don't Mrs. Teasley me, Brandon. I know what's up.
These adults are going to go ask because they're adults. That's their job. Yeah. I don't have to ask for permission.
No, I can just fucking Brenda.
Just interviewing me.
That's right. I'm going to go buy another black mini dress. Brenda, I'm going to do.
If I can survive the smog and the crime of these streets, I think I can handle a little smoke, Dad.
Seems to me, Bren, that if you can make it through this without smoking, you can make it through anything. And that.
Okay, fuck Brandon.
I know, that's so ridiculous. But again, lots of people telling Brenda that smoking is bad for her. And Brenda's like, what's that, sweetie?
You know, for all the references they made to past episodes and storylines, they really missed an opportunity to be like, are you smoking because someone held you up at gunpoint?
Right. Yeah, they didn't.
Maybe go back to therapy. Because that's what it read to me. I mean, yes, of course, people start smoking sometimes because of peer pressure, but also give Brenda a little credit.
Right.
You know, like, I don't think Brenda is that easily swayed.
Yeah.
You know, I think there could have been deeper stuff. I know in this writing that's what they're building it on, but I don't believe it. And I wish they had been, gone with, well, other people are doing it. And also, it's really relaxing. This is nice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that would have been nice to, like, hang it on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it mostly was just like she wanted to look cool. She wanted to be grown up. She had a chance. She went away from home for the first time and made some dumb choices. She went over there and got a little out of control with the Frenchies. Jesus Christ, Brandon.
Brandon, would you just shut up?
Yeah, you keep trying to help, but everything you say is dumb. So shut up.
Truly.
But Brenda just keeps on smoking, even though she keeps getting this advice that's a bad idea. And Dylan and skipping the SATs, like, he's just like, I'm gonna go surf. And Brenda is like, well, maybe you should take the SATs. And Brandon is like, man, keep your options open. And his dad in prison is like, how about don't end up in prison? Go take the SATs. It's just a lot of people trying to steer Dylan in the right direction. And they get him there. They get him to take the SATs. Things will happen later when people get their scores back.
Fail.
And Steve did he take the legacy key from BJ, or is he still considering it? I
believe he is still considering it.
Okay.
There There was not a final outcome.
Gotcha. Well, this is like some Chekhov's legacy key here, because there's no way they bring this up and Steve turns it down. Like, that's not Steve. So, but Brandon is like, Steve, I don't know. Like, don't you remember Denzel's class when you cheated and that didn't work out very well? And why would this be any different? Aren't you ever going to learn from your own past behavior? Spoilers, Steve takes the key. I know, you're shocked, and I'm sorry that I spoiled the one thing in this episode.
I don't have pearls to clutch at.
Yeah, you need to... It's the big one, honey! I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth! This is the biggest heart attack I ever had! Doing Fred Sanford impressions is the greatest way to be immediately accepted by people who are not in their 40s. 20-year-olds are like, what in the Christ are you doing?
For me, this week I learned it was mentioning Bare Fabrics because only older people in this area know what I'm talking about.
I don't even know what that is. So, is it a fabric store?
Well, it's a fabric store, but it's also where I used to, well, it's where a lot of us would get our ballet shoes and leotards at the start of every dance year.
I think we've discovered why I didn't know about this.
Yes.
Yeah. I never once bought ballet shoes or leotards.
And your mom clearly didn't make you your Halloween costumes.
Sometimes.
Okay, well, she didn't go to Bare Fabrics, which is wrong.
Well, she might have, but if she did, she went without me. Because she probably knew it'd be...
Well, you missed out. It was a magical place.
No, I feel like that was a... this will be way easier if I go in there without the boys. Situation. So, speaking as a parent who has had a child age from 1 to 10... all of those store visits south of age 9 are so much easier without the kid. It's like a million. Like, it's impossible to tell people how much harder it is to go to a grocery store with a kid because you just think you put them in the basket and you just no. It is put it down. It is no. It is what? No. What? Hold on. I got to wait. Hold on. It constant the entire time. It's exhausting. Makes everything take like 6 times longer.
I have taken just a few times, but like I think the most of my sister's kids that I had to take care of at one time because we went and did stuff was when there were 3 of them. Uh-huh. And we went to Michael's, and then we also went to like I think Chick-fil-A after that, and it was mildly nerve-wracking to be like, oh my god, we're 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Weston, keep an eye. No, Winter, you're more responsible. You keep an eye.
So you know what it is when you only have to babysit 3 of your sister's kids instead of all 4? That's a W.
Oh my god. Well, the 4th one. Jesus.
High five. Dad joke. All their names start with W.
The 4th one wasn't born yet. Sorry, Wakely.
That's a W.
Yeah.
I'm the funniest person alive.
You're close.
It's like I think it's like it's Steve Martin, Martin Short, Nate Bargatze, and me. Like I think that's the list.
Yeah. It's close, but no cigarette.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of cigarettes, again, the last thing I have for what this episode might really be about is the Barney Fife of it all.
Oh, no.
Because are you familiar with one of Barney Fife's major catchphrases? You got to nip it, Andy. Nip it in the bud. Nip it. Oh. This episode was all about nip it in the bud. Andrea tells Brandon with Nikki, Brandon, you got to nip it. You got to nip that shit in the bud. Just nip it. With Brenda smoking, they're like, why don't you quit right now before it gets too serious? Nip it.
Prove
That's right. Nip it right now. Nip it. And then Brandon with Steve and the legacy key. Before this shit gets out of hand, Steve, nip it. Nip it. And that doesn't mean pinch the nipple. Although I did use the same hand gesture earlier to mean that. So, and they're both with the word nip. I don't know what to tell you guys. Nip. They just wanted to nip this. And I'm not sure that any of them nipped it. and they maybe should have. So,
Oh, yeah. She's definitely not done smoking. I'm sorry. That would be kind of disappointing for me as a viewer. Like,
right,
no. Listen, we all watch stuff because we want to see people doing stuff that we won't
right.
do.
I don't know. I feel like we might end up running into the network on this one, where the network says no more smoking because it's bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
They took away the sex. They took away the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But
Will they stop at nothing?
well, they didn't need to worry, but they just didn't know yet that Justin Timberlake was going to bring sexy back. Yeah. But he was, and he did. Yeah. It's my favorite part of that song, where they're like, it sounds like a question, but that they're answering. Yeah.
It's so loud.
Yeah.
And a crit.
Yeah, it's my favorite. So you can try to take away sexy, but it's going to come back. Yeah. Anything else that this episode might really have been about? Anything? Oh, well, we did have something that you noted that we haven't talked about yet. Although I've hit it a couple times in passing.
Well, we've got a. Someone has clearly been keeping some kind of show level, at least some stuff, because it's. I mean, it's a fully mixed stew of a show. We've got the ingredients. You can taste them. You know, smell the different notes. Turmeric.
Yeah.
You know, some cayenne in there. Yum.
Spicy.
Like, and I mean, I have a whole list. If we need,
I think we should. We need to show people that this show now remembers its past, at least for today.
We see the sign for Alfred B. Cook,
or you be fried.
And Cindy mentions to Brenda, like, oh, I'm sorry. Have you already forgotten about last year's breast cancer scare and how that runs in the family?
Yep. So why don't you smoke some more? Nip it.
We reference Donna's learning disability.
Yep.
Which we discovered the last time she took the SATs.
No, it's like every time the SATs comes up, people like remember shit. It's exciting. They've been studying this. That makes sense.
I'm supposed to remember shit for the SATs. It helps. Steve cheating is referenced.
Yes. Yep. Denzel's class.
And this one is going to seem silly and vague, but hear me out. I feel like we get referenced once again that, like, oh yeah, Brenda and Brandon are twins. Because we haven't seen a lot of them be super tight in a while.
Yeah.
It's been Brenda and Dylan, Brandon and, you know, whatever Chippy of the week. And this week, we finally got to see more of them again in a less sexual context.
Right.
Listen, you know, will these kids get together? I don't know. Probably not, because, you know, it's not HBO.
Right.
But, you know, we got a lot of, like, because at one point, too, she references, like, everyone's been on a different wavelength. I don't feel like, you know, if it wasn't for Dylan, I'd be all alone. And he goes,
Right. Present company excluded.
You know, I thought it was a good episode for remembering, like, oh yeah, they're twins. They've got each other's back. And it's nice because that's what I want for my family TV dramas.
Yeah. You want there to be, like, it's not, I don't think, like, you know, we've got 2 seasons of The Gang. I don't think we're all going to love it if one character ends up on an island with everyone else hating at them. I just don't think that that's a fun dynamic. I think that's, you know, people end up on the outs and they come back in, and that kind of thing is like, that's real and that's interesting to play with. It gives you drama and things to, but I don't think as fans, we don't want any of the characters off by themselves, being totally disconnected from everybody else. And Brenda's right, she has been.
Yeah. And granted, by the end, I was kind of surprised that they went ahead and, like, put everything back together nicely in a box. But I thought, ooh, this is still broken. There are still cracks that have not been mended in this vase called friendship.
Yeah.
So, again, I stand by this friendship's gonna, like, implode at some point in the season. But much like other series that have that, they will come back together, and we'll get that nice moment that I referenced earlier when they said, "I just want to stay like this as long as we can."
Right here with you, just like this. I want to hold you. Sorry, I didn't want to miss a thing. I had to go Aerosmith on this action. What's that?
I didn't mind.
Oh, I thought you were like, I mind. Please don't do that ever again.
No, I didn't mind. It was nice.
All right, so what does this make you nostalgic for?
I noticed how they all had two pencils, and it threw me off for a minute, and I went, "Oh yeah, they recommend you bring two pencils.
Case one breaks, sure."
Yes, and granted, by the time I was taking them, we had this delightful thing called mechanical pencils.
Oh, sure.
But for testing purposes, I think they were being strict still and saying, no, you need to bring number two pencils.
Yeah, because of the Scantron. Are you? It does. Yeah, the Scantron machine won't pick it up if it's not dark enough. So that's why the number two pencil was important.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I think it's but like I don't know. It felt to me silly. Like, aren't all pencils number two? And they're not. But like 90% of them are. But you don't want to be that one asshole kid who accidentally got the number one pencil. Nobody told me.
But yeah, this should tell you how much I hate being an adult for the fact that I was nostalgic, even remotely, for like, because I remember that day taking my SATs. I had my peppermints, I had my snacks. I'm pretty sure I had a book to read in the downtime. And, you know, of course, I have pencils.
Yep.
I love pencils.
You gotta have your pencils.
I like the sound they make. Yeah, I just like them. I hate how much they get on your hand. But
were you did you gnaw on pencils? Like, they all teeth marked? I did not gnaw on pencils so much. Pen caps, though. Here's something not to be nostalgic for, but it might be mine. This is so fucking foul. I would chew on pen caps and on the back end of pens so much in class that not infrequently I would pour spit out of them.
Ew!
I know. I told you it was so fucking gross. Like, you could just drain the saliva buildup out of the end of these things. And like, my pencil's not working, and you do this, and it flings spit everywhere. Not pencil, because I didn't, but pen.
Yeah.
I wasn't a mechanical pencil guy, but that is a habit I have broken. I no longer just chew on shit, but I wasn't so much with the pencils, but the pen caps and the back end of the pens, mine were nasty.
That is so wild. No, I was never one of those kids putting stuff in my mouth that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I was perfect.
In every way.
What I lacked in putting weird stuff in my mouth, I made it for in emotional damage. So
high five.
Yeah. But yeah, I miss pencils. I miss tests being the most stressful thing.
Yeah.
Well, let me clarify. I miss like school tests being the most stressful thing. Because of course, now being an adult, there are health tests that are stressful.
Yep. Yeah. There's always tests.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like, I barely remember taking the SAT, and I took it twice.
Me too.
I think the second time I improved my score 10 points because I didn't do anything. I didn't try any harder the second time than I did the first time. Yeah. I just took it, and then I took it again. I went up. Well, I guess that's the score I got.
Yeah.
That's fine. Good enough to get me in where I want to go. So that's fine. I didn't care. I don't really remember. I don't remember that test. I remember the tests for getting like my teaching certificate, because those are way more recent. Like those, but even those were 15 years ago. I haven't taken a test beyond a driving test or like a blood test. I haven't taken a test that means anything in a long time. But I remember taking those a little more than I remember taking the SAT. But I do remember, the stress of it. And I remember like David's coming out going, I remember that feeling. Like, here's what I'm nostalgic for beyond my pen cap is coming out of something like that and going to get something to eat.
Yes.
Like that is great. Like the finishing of the thing and then going to Denny's or wherever and getting some moons over fucking Miami. Like it's that kind of like that I like. Like we did this while we process it, let's go eat too much food.
Yes.
And that's not a thing that I do anymore. But that's kind of a fun thing. So I guess that's my nostalgia moment. Nice. Who is your Steve Sanders Memorial worst person of the episode?
It's the guy doing edits in the van.
Sure.
He's like, not to say Beth doesn't have any hand in this. She does. She's, but she has accountability. I hate that she quits, but as someone who's also trying to make her profession better with people who don't want to make it better because of money or assholery, I understand quitting. Like, you got to save your energy, and if someone doesn't want what you're bringing to the table, go to another table.
Right.
But yeah, it's video editing guy who is awful.
He is pretty awful.
He's the worst.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty bad. I'm going with Brenda.
Oh.
But like this is a tough episode to give someone worst person because no one is like 100% worst person. Like I would like to give it to Steve because he's just a dill hole and this level is not going to be great. But Steve gives Brenda good advice. Like Steve is like helpful to people throughout this episode. And I'd like to give it to Brandon for being shitty to Nikki, but like
cutting her off when she's trying to talk and doing that whole thing, like it's Brandon just, he wanted to shut you up. Dickhead.
Yeah, but I also kind of get it. Like it's like she won't leave me alone. Like what the actual fuck with this chick? She won't leave me alone. So I get it. Like and also. Even though he's stupid, like he's trying with Brenda and the cigarettes. He's trying with Steve to be like, dude, are you sure? Like, like a bad idea to me. I don't think it's a good idea. Let's not get involved.
You know where I'm sorry.
No.
I just realized where I have to commend Brandon is where I fall short. Because Brandon is willing to make the mistakes by having these conversations and saying stuff and he's still willing to learn after that. So like, and I think a lot of times, especially nowadays when we're afraid of saying something that'll be offensive or, get us canceled or whatever, like I get that. We also have to be brave and make mistakes.
Yeah.
And say the things, and learn from that. So I guess go Brandon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even that makes me scared to say anymore because of what's been turned into Brandon or what has come from Brandon's name.
Yeah, that's true. But we don't want to deal with that. But the Brenda part of it is like, yes, she had best intentions. And yes, the outcome of this is a whole lot of nothing. Like it's all fine. Everybody's fine. They were mad at her for like a couple of days and now it's fine. They're all over it. But here's the thing. Many people told Brenda this was a bad idea.
True.
And she ignored all of them. And on top of that, like there were a lot of people who told her not to do it. Nobody asked her to do this. Like Beth did, but Beth just stood up and asked people who were walking by. Like it didn't have to be Brenda. She didn't have to get involved in this shit at all. And despite a million like pieces of advice to the contrary, she went ahead and did it anyway. And it kind of doesn't matter what her reasons were because she did it.
Yeah.
Again,
why I don't understand why they're painting her. I mean, yes, she's naive, but I don't think she's as naive as they're painting her. I don't know. She puts her trust in the wrong people at the wrong time.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, I think that if you were 17 and someone said, I'd like to do a story about you on TV, you'd be like, cool. You know?
I mean, they did. A documentary crew came to my high school.
And you said, cool.
I mean, yes, but also, like, they tried to stir up a bunch of stuff in the theater department, and I was wise to it because, thankfully, my mom's a teacher, and it's like, be cautious.
Right.
Because they tried to do the whole, like, well, you wanted to be the lead too, right?
Oh.
How'd you feel when your friend got it? And I was like, good for her.
Right.
How do you feel about your director? The one sitting right there? Yeah, pretend he's not here.
Okay.
No?
Yeah. Yeah, that's So don't trust the documentary film crew.
I don't know. Anyone who wants to stir up drama amongst teens is not okay in my book.
Okay. Well, I mean, welcome to literally everyone who wrote on 90210. Just stirring up the drama.
Different. That's different. That's different. It's fiction.
This is real.
It's not.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that the tabloids didn't come to put people in your high school on TV and just to insult the blonde ones? That didn't happen?
I don't know. I don't know who they were trying to insult. They were just trying to make drama happen, and then amongst all the other different, or all the other local theater departments, it was nuts. I need to share this documentary with you. It's so stupid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the subject matter is intense. These kids today and their drama that we're causing.
High school theater in southern Indiana. Dun dun.
It's a cesspool.
Indeed.
And it's just brackish. Ugh. It's like that water in the end of my pen cap. Brought it back around.
You didn't never need to be in band. You had your own little spit valve.
I did, yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I should have been playing the trombone the whole time. You know what? I'm so upset that the nickname Trombone Shorty is taken because I wanted that. I just wanted people to call me Trombone Shorty. But it turns out some other jackass who actually plays the trombone took that name.
Well, what are you going to do?
And he's probably shorter than me. So, whatever. Still, that's a good nickname. And I think I would have liked it. But
you've really been misused.
I have. I mean, look, if you can't aspire in your 40s to suddenly being called Trombone Shorty, I don't know what kind of world we're living in here. If that's the glass ceiling I got to break through, where I just can't be called Trombone Shorty, then I'm gonna break through it because that's what I do.
Right.
I gets it done.
Aim high.
Lost my fucking mind. All right, I think we did it.
I think we did too.
All right. So join us here on Friday, Cheesemeisters, when we are going to watch the movie Nightcrawler, which you just informed me it has to do with Taylor Swift's Red era in some way that I wasn't aware of.
I didn't say it had to do, well, I guess I implied it, but anyway, her, just
because
one of her ex-boyfriends.
Right.
The one with the red stuff.
And I didn't know that. I know who Jake Gyllenhaal is. I know who Taylor Swift is. I know there is a Red era. Ne'er the twain shall meet. As far as it was.
I know other things about Jake Gyllenhaal. His sister Maggie's great.
I like her. Thumbs up to Maggie.
Yeah.
I like Jake too. Because but I mean, maybe I'm not supposed to. Maybe the Red era deep dive would tell me that I shouldn't do that. I'm just gonna be over here being my own man.
Listen, you're allowed to like both.
Yeah, he's Mysterio and shit. What are you gonna do?
She's doing just fine, so I'm not. Yeah,
I think she's good.
You can like both.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny.
What would happen if she went on Backstory though? But yeah, anyway, join us on Friday for Nightcrawler, and join us here next week when the college tension ratchets up a notch with Highwire, and some killer dream sequences next weekend.
Yay!
Yeah, very. I mean, whoo boy.
Do we get a dream ballet finally?
Not a ballet. More of a circus.
Oh no, I don't like clowns.
Oh, I don't remember if there's clowns. I don't think there's clowns. Um,
Okay.
but you'll find out in the dreams of Andrea Zuckerman.
Oh hell yes.
Yeah, it's on.
These are about to be weird.
They really are. They kind of really are. All right. So until then, Cheesemeisters.
Bye.
Bye.